I will open the meeting for Monday, September 26th. And I think that says 6:35. Okay. Entertain a motion to accept the agenda as may be amended. Oops. I would suggest that we move the minutes down until Jim is here because we need him here to approve it. Yep. Otherwise, we'll move on to in favor of adjusting the agenda, please say aye. Aye. Select board concerns?
I have nothing other than
that's not already on the agenda.
Yeah, no, nothing.
Okay.
Do you?
No, I had already talked to Chad about my meeting with Green Mountain.
Okay.
And there's really basically what they did, and he wrote, well, he texted us afterwards. And he went into, because of the number of poles that are now in the water that are not supposed to be. He went into what would be involved with Green Mountain Power applying to move those poles and the expense. And there is a formula that I won't even try to explain about how much land they have to set a pole. And the number of poles would push them into an Act 250 permit, which means we could be looking at 2 years before that could be approved. And at the end of his text back, he said, your suggestion to lower the beaver dam back to where it was 2 years ago, not remove it. Yeah. He doesn't want it removed. Just lower it back to where it was, would lower the water away from the poles. And it would be considerably quicker and immensely cheaper.
Those poles never were always underwater.
No, these are the ones that were not designed to be underwater. So good. We have that to add to the list. Well, we're trying to set up a meeting with Fish and Game and all the others.
Reset the revised permit, sent it to Josh, and she's in the process of trying to get everybody in the same room. Like she sent it to him to have him sign it, but in lieu of that, it was like we need to sit down in the room and get this done. She's working on doing that right
Nicole is our engineer.
Good.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
Jim just pulled in.
Okay. Anybody that's zoomed in, if you have something you'd like to bring up that's not already on the agenda, can you let us know, raise a hand or unmute yourself, one of the others, so we know you have something to say? I'm not seeing anything yet. How about you all? There's something you want to bring up? You're part of the meeting, you know. Okay.
Large group tonight.
Yeah. Somebody introduce yourself.
My name is Braden Jordan.
I mean, as a group. We don't have, it's going to be a long enough meeting.
We are the first years of Castleton University, our jump program up on the line up here at the Y.
The resort and hospitality.
You need your landlord to do anything?
Resort manager.
You like different?
Oh, we have an issue now. Building complaints go.
Welcome, guys.
Okay.
Sorry.
So happy. We're good. So, oh yeah. Okay.
We just did.
We're doing like a citizen input. Well, do you have a select board concern before we go back to the minutes? Okay, so to accept the minutes of September 1st. It's a meeting that I was not at. It was you two.
It was just an executive session for real estate.
Yeah.
No action was taken.
Okay. All in favor of as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Do we have liquor control?
Yes.
Lucretia is in it. Hey, Lucretia, you're up.
Okay. Cameron came in, met with Jim, and he provided us with a letter indicating that the area that would where the alcohol service would be. They have a small bar area. I guess that when his parents owned the lodge, they did serve alcohol there at one time, but then they stopped, and it would just be for their guests. They're not looking to open it up to the public, and the alcohol consumption would be restricted to that common space surrounding the bar, as shown in that picture.
And Cameron had said to me that he was aware that nobody can bring liquor in from the rooms to this area, and they cannot bring the liquor from this room into their rooms. Everything that's served here must stay in this area. If you look at the TV that's at like 10 o'clock, to the right of that is like a bar area with the stools that has always been there. And it's just to serve the people inside. So this would not change any parking area or anything. Since the business was discontinued at one time, and the Division of Liquor will be looking at it as a new license, correct, Lucretia?
That's correct.
We told Cameron that we would look at it as a change of use. And I gave him the fee for a change of use in the zoning plus the recording. So now it's on file. So technically, as parents, when they stopped serving liquor, they probably should have filed a change of use and discontinued. So he's all good to go. I don't have a problem with it. We will be giving him the paperwork for the zoning change of use. So I'll make a motion for the town clerk to move forward with Mountain Sports in liquor license application.
Okay. Actually, can't say anything.
Yeah.
Lucretia, just on another, were you able to get the defined areas figured out for licensing on the world?
Yeah, so we we had a conference last week with the Vermont Clerks and Treasurers Association, and the DLC did a presentation regarding the new online licensing system, and myself and other clerks provided input. I explained to them that they should have an area on there where the applicant describes the area, and they agreed that that would be a good idea. And also the field that shows the documents that they've submitted should show the documents when we print it off, as opposed to not showing anything. So yeah. And I think since the time I had been on to print this license off to the time they came last week, I think they had already been working on that little bug. It was a little bug in the system. So there was a lot of other input that they appreciated. And I think it's going to be that way for a while. One of the biggest things that came out too was that all licensees must use the online system. There is no provision for a paper application anymore.
So what happens if one doesn't have internet service? I guess that's kind of crazy to think that you're in business today without a. So I know someone came in and busted your chops.
Yeah, no. So I did say I had asked them. I said, "What do we do when a business owner does not use computers? They do not use it. They do not use the computer for anything." And I said, "I do have one licensee that does not." And they said that the response would be that they have to use the online system. Now, they can appoint anyone they wish as an agent. So I offered that business owner the opportunity to come in and use the search computer to log on, and we would help him through the process. I mean, it's not a big deal.
Yes. So Frank, for your group here, the reason why Chris doesn't vote on this stuff is it's a liquor license, and he owns a liquor license in the state of Vermont. So stays out of it.
Never own it.
Tonight, I have a question. If I'm on the golf course so that they can have a liquor license, does that
You're on the
take me up?
Sherburne Golf Services Corporation. You're not part of the liquor license.
Okay, so the corporation has the license.
Yeah. My corporations have licenses too.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't look that.
Okay. I was going to say it's on you.
No, it wouldn't, because if there's not two people that can vote, then it goes to the state of Vermont.
Yeah.
And these restaurants up and down the hill don't want it.
Yeah. All right, so anything else to add before we vote to? All in favor, having the town clerk move forward with the liquor license for Mountain Sports.
Yeah. Aye.
Okay, Green Mountain Golf Course, their capital purchasing.
David, do you want to walk us through this? Just so everybody's aware, the top seats in your golf cart are the proposals. And
All these, these documents were prepared by Jason and Aaron. So I'll do my best.
So I spoke to Mark earlier today, David, and most of the stuff, we don't know when we're going to get the delivery. And we don't really know what the price is going to be because of the market that we're in at this time. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct. It may not even be in the next budgeting cycle. It could be in the cycle after that.
Right. So, so what we're trying to do here is just get in the queue. And then when they have the actual real delivery and the real price, it comes back to us for final approval.
Correct. Yes, you can always cancel your order.
Okay, so I make a motion to move forward with getting in the queue on this equipment.
Okay, are you including
any of the equipment that we have to need to get into the queue? I think there's two separate.
This sheet is the culmination of the two orders. It's the Green Mountain National requested equipment buying options. It talks about the cash price currently, the budgeted price, the extended, and the lease options.
So I'm looking at this as two separate things. Anything that's in the queue that we don't have a real delivery and we only have a price that's good for today, that when they get us the queue will be good for tomorrow or a year from now. We're going to strike that, just go ahead and put it in the queue. Now we can talk about what we really know we're going to get. Is there anything that we know we're really going to get? Yeah, so everything's in
the queue.
We're still waiting.
Because there's four pieces of equipment that are from Toro that are part of this, and
I just
the John Deere tractor.
Are there 5 pieces or 4 pieces?
The John Deere tractor is one of them.
John Deere tractor with the loader, the front loader option. That has been ordered and that will arrive early next year.
Right.
I see 5 pieces with Toro.
Oh, because there's 2 of one kind.
There's two fairway mowers. That's correct.
Right, but it's still 5. It's still 5 pieces. Yeah. And they put them in here at the double.
So my motion on the floor is to approve ordering the items that need just to get in queue. David just told me there's one item, I think, that we're getting when?
You said early next year.
Yeah, okay, so.
That we ordered.
I think that, yeah, we already ordered and already approved.
Which piece is that?
That's the tractor, the John Deere tractor. That's not on this list. That would be on the previous. That's on the bottom of it. That's the bottom.
So do we now need to commit to how we're dealing with it for ordering them? Do we have a choice of doing leases or withdrawing buyout or 60-month or cash?
You have all the different prices here for your use. And we can make the financing decision at the time we're there.
That's all I know.
We're just making
the odds on
order.
The best option as it is today would be the $1 buyout. So that we could get a few extra years.
And you weren't here at the time. When they put an order in before you came on the board, under $10,000, we bought it outright.
Yeah.
That's why we had.
I'm just trying to figure out if we're leasing, or we have limited hours.
That was the criteria we used.
No, we don't know that right now.
Yeah. And we don't know what these are going to be till they tell us.
Okay.
So that's why we can't commit it.
That's great.
It's like buying a Volkswagen ID4 my wife did. Put $100 down and I'll tell you a year from now if you're going to get it.
When we got, as part of this package today, we got a master equipment list of what we do have for an inventory and what we're going to be looking for. And from Brown.
Well, before we get to that, I put a motion out for that other thing. So we just close that motion out.
All in favor of getting in the queue, please say aye.
Aye.
So we have a master list of all the inventory that we're going to now use this as the basis for a long-term master plan. It tells the year of the equipment, the age, estimated life that it has left, the number of hours that are on them and the estimated replacement costs. And this is what we're going to be asking Brown to do a long-term 10-year capital plan for, to be able to work it forward through during budget season this year.
Do we have any idea what the value is on any of these?
The value, I don't think it's total on there. No.
We have replacement costs, but like.
Oh, the existing value, maybe.
Yeah, existing value.
I don't know that. We'd have to see if we could find out what those things are actually worth.
So David, if I go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 line items on this list, it says sprayer.
Yep.
Smithco, tow behind, model, serial number, the year, the age is 25 years old.
Correct.
The percentage of life left is 0%. The hour says too many. The estimated replacement cost is $55,000. The working condition is very poor.
Okay.
I would think the thing is shot, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got our money's worth out of that one.
So where is it in our replacement thing then? Is this
we replaced that in the last cycle.
Yes.
Okay, so if we replace it in the last cycle, then why am I seeing a machine that's worthless? Why don't we just dump it and then put the one we replaced in there?
Just showing you what we have. And if you would like to get rid of that piece of equipment, we will throw it out.
Well, I think Chris is whatever, scrap metal or whatever is, or if trade it.
Right, trade it in.
If something is not working, why are we keeping it in our garage?
So the other one is the one that's in fair condition?
Well, the other one was purchased. There are two different sizes, and again, I'm not in the maintenance barn every day, so my knowledge of the equipment is not secondhand, but it's not as good as Robert's knowledge.
The other sprayer is 18 years newer.
Oh no, there's one that's 2021 that's down there at the bottom of the list.
Oh, I was looking at the one right below it.
Yeah, I was doing that too, and then I just saw there's one down here that was 50,000. It was just bought in 2021.
Yeah.
They're a different size boom.
So I would just think that one would have went away if it wasn't worth anything back then. So now if I come down to the hour usage thing, to the first one that says not working, but it says percentage of life left, 30%. And then I go all the way over and I see it's a Cushman carts.
Okay, that's one of the work carts, yes.
One of the work carts. Yeah, I don't know why we have it in inventory if it's not working, and I guess that's my
Well, it just says the hours are not working. That doesn't mean it's not working.
I don't know.
There's no hour meter on it.
Oh, the hours is not working, or is it not working, David?
Again, I don't know the specifics to answer your question.
Okay, so can we just get what the not working means?
But they're waiting parts.
Of course.
So basically, when we, because in November after you close out October's year end,
I follow you.
Okay.
we should be turning this into an overall report. What's replaced, what's not replaced, and then what's the plan and how are we going to finance it for the next 5 and 10 years?
And if something's broken and not working at all, and it's not worth repairing, and I really don't want to see it on our inventory list.
Okay.
Do you, Chad?
No,
I still feel that, we don't want to just randomly throw stuff out, but I think that would require some sort of approval from the town to dismiss those equipment items. Yeah.
Well, that would be part of your plan that you recommend that these 3 big pieces be taken offline, sold, or whatever they could be. And then we go beyond that, and it's okay. So how are we going to go from here?
Wait, river.
And
They'll take one.
it actually would be similar
I bet you back to you.
Me too. That's where it's going.
to schedule the chat with him about the town equipment.
Yeah.
That as we replace a piece, he puts in what we're doing with the other one. Yeah. Are we trading it in? Are we?
Yeah, it'd be nice to know so we're just not leaving, taking a piece of equipment. And
I mean, there's got to be a value of something, even if it's scrap. Somebody wants something off of it. If it has a radiator, if it has a pulley, if it has something.
Some of these will still be they're just not made to cut on every day. That's all.
Just stick that with the Rule 100, the free sign on it.
Hey,
So David, we've approved you to get in queue We don't really need any, we already approved the other stuff. What else do we need to approve?
Well, that's it for capital.
Right.
For approving capital is moving on to that. Now we're just going to talk about the golf financials.
Can I just say something real quick about budget, because that is right on the horizon, needs to be done shortly. If we budget, as we will be doing budgeting, whether it's a line item or whether it's a percentage for capital, however we put it in the budget, if these pieces of equipment aren't available next year, is there a way that we can roll those funds over to the following budget cycle? You know, if
I think that would be a question to Mark, who's the finance director.
Yeah. The fund is rolling by nature. So if you don't spend it, you don't lose it.
Yeah.
It just continues into the following year.
Okay, that'd be great.
For budgeting purposes, I would definitely, what I'm seeing is we took on about 50,000 round numbers, 50,000 in lease payments in the last cycle. This one, we're looking at about 90. So you're at about 40 total lease commitments over, in this case, 5 years, five years of payments. You're going to want to budget. Right now, we budget 2%. The fund is, there's 100,000 coming in from the town, and golf ops budgets 2% of revenue, 125. If our lease obligations are $140, obviously the math isn't working so well. You're going to need to boost that contribution from 2% to 4%.
Okay.
The budget overview that's up on here, and it's on your sheets too, is the overview that Mark's talking about, which is looking at the cash flow of the leases. So that's the form that we got to fill in, and that whole beige area is what we're looking to fill in going forward, David.
Okay.
So that will tell us what the rest of the leases are, what the expense per year is, and what our carryover is in our fund.
But just say 5% of the, instead of 2%, go to 5%. I asked Mark if we could go to 10%, but he's just saying it won't hold it. The budget won't hold it, but 5% should hold it.
Because of the current, right now we're trying to carry some debt payments as well. So purely from an income statement point of view, it will carry it. From a cash perspective, it will not.
So let's just work 5% into it.
Yeah,
For capital.
I would recommend 4.
All right, then go with the director 4.
So right now we're budgeted
2% of total revenue.
2%.
That's that one line that shows 25,000.
Right. What's the ending balance? Is means that's what's left of the
At the end of the year.
Right. And if you go up to the next column, then it carries up, Chris.
Okay.
The beginning balance 7-1.
The town has been kicking in 100,000 from the general fund to the capital. And that's where it's 125,000 total. Where Mark is saying 140 is going out, so you're 15K off.
So that would put it to 50, and then we got to worry about where are we going from here.
It's the other items on your list. I know you have a lot more other equipment. You provided that inventory list. Where to, that has to be forecasted so that you can just get a 10,000 foot view, which is what I would call that top schedule. And to make sure that fund never approaches negative or 0 first. Definitely not negative. But that's what I'm attempting to do just in that budget overview section. Is just put in all your gory details down below for we need to replace this, that, and that. And then it pulls up and doesn't, just a quick add them up.
Yep.
Okay, so
if we go to 4%, you're going to grab another 25 grand or whatever out of there, Mark.
typically, yes.
At the 150 with a 140.
So I don't necessarily call that a solution, but it certainly allows you to get in the queue. And I think we need to have some more work done on your real needs operationally and what the golf course is able to do as well. And then the town has been filling the shortfall in the past.
Wouldn't it make sense with all this equipment that we go 2 and 3 years out of this? And so we're looking further ahead where we could be. It doesn't mean we have to replace it. Okay, we could have a bad year and it rained and we never did anything, but at least we have an idea of where we're looking further down the line.
Well, and that's one of the advantages of going to the $1 buyout, because in year 3, we're going to start seeing things come off, like the golf carts. 2 years or 3?
That was initially a 5-year, and we've got 2 years left.
2 years left. So
This
2
year
years from
and
now,
next
there's 72,000 coming off. If we can get 8 years out of it, that gives us a 3-year.
Yeah, but let's be honest, yeah, those golf carts are only 3 years old right now.
Yes.
How long did the last golf carts last us?
15.
Yeah, okay.
But what I'm saying is from the, well,
You get
the goal
10
is
years
we
out.
want to get 8 or 10 years is our goal. And if we can do that in a 5, then we can start to pick up.
So
So
I just think on all this equipment here, we can start looking at that number.
Well,
You know, so we say, okay, this mower should be able to, doesn't always work.
right.
I think Mark's concern is this fair market value thing is just consistently. So if the machine really can last 7 years, but we have a lease for 5, that ends up fair market value. You don't get to keep it, you hand it in and you already have that cost, and we might be better off doing $1 buyout or whatever.
Currently, we have 1 fair market value lease.
Yeah.
Everything else.
Right,
That's the only
but when I look at
What do
this
we have
sheet
for
here,
fair
there's
market
1, 2, 3, 4,
The
5.
triplexes that we bought last year, I think it was.
That schedule has been, I updated that this afternoon after I got the information.
The information came in like.
I'm just looking at this and there's 5 more on there.
Right.
So those have been revised now to dollar buyouts. You need that break.
Totally.
You need that reprieve, call it whatever makes sense to you. But you need that, especially because we're pinning the debt side. $140 a month, that's a big nut.
Right.
So you've got to own it. And then hopefully through good maintenance and care, you can, instead of a 5-year, you can get maybe 6, 7, 8 years, and that's your reprieve.
Right. And the goal is we've been going the longer time, even on the highway department. We went from 5 years to 8 for trucks, and we got that reprieve. That's why we're buying cash. Our goal is to be the same way, because 5 years from now, we're going to be done with the current expense note.
Yeah, 1 person.
No, to me, it would be nice. I would just like to, see what cash price versus
They put that in the list today. One of those sheets you have has the purchase price.
Yeah.
So, I think we have a 5-year window of making this work, keeping our capital up, and then getting the rest of the debt service going, and we'll be in an okay place.
Does that help you out, David?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, that was, if we can roll over the budget numbers, my guess is we may get, it's a guess. Who's to say out of those items, those pieces of equipment, we might get half of them next year. And so that won't affect that year's budget. But as Mark said, we just roll those funds over. That was my question.
Right, and we're just making it clear here that it needs to come back with final authorization of the purchase of it.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else from David?
Well, the only other piece is the year end we now have, because we are finished with the audit. We have the final numbers for the golf for the year.
2022.
Yeah, the 2022 final numbers. There's a one sheet that's a summary, so you only have to look at the one sheet that shows it. And the summary, that's the town one, the wrong one. The summary shows a $232,000 as the net for fiscal year 2022.
Their report.
No, it's a budget. It should be summary. It should be budget status summary report. Right. The one pager.
Looks like.
I got it.
And this is where it is here. And you can see we had $1,268,000, 319 for gross revenue, and $1,036,031 for expenses total. So the net of operating, this does not include any capital transfers or anything else. Net from direct operating was $232,297.
It doesn't carry any of the carryover from the previous year.
Right.
And Mark, you're going to run us the same report that you did last year. Once the golf course closes, show us how much money is in there, how much is allocated to capital.
I will forecast cash. Yes. Yeah. I'm doing it now. I've got an ongoing.
So and the budget comparative is the same information with all the detail if you have stuff you want to go and drill down through.
Yeah.
Great. So that's where that is. And then we also just in the beginning, we have the golf budget comparative report that says August 2022. That's just where we are year to date. Currently, we are running slightly ahead we're running quite a bit ahead on total revenues, about $61,000 on total revenue. So we're ahead of last year's revenues at the same time.
We're on plan.
Right.
It's actually quite good. You're going to see David, you may notice it already. You're going to see a big miss in September for revenue. We were budgeted for 289.
Yes.
And as of today, the 21st rather,
220 something.
We're at $179. So we're going to have a significant miss.
And the other thing is like comparing to this, it's like saying in period 2 are at 552,000. Look, we're doing so much better than last year at period 2 at 491. So you're like 60 grand ahead, right? Mm-hmm. But remember, we budgeted in FY22 1,130,000, and this year we budgeted 1,275,000. So we budgeted another 145.
Right. So we're on track.
He's telling us we may fall behind.
Well, we're gonna miss a little bit in September.
Hopefully the weather in October is more favorable. We've had some washout days, which you did not see in June, July, and August at the golf course.
And then on the back of your packet, there's the treasurer's report. And currently we have a balance in Golf Pro Shop of $607,000 of $163,576 of which is restricted funds. And the balance in the golf services restaurant is $47,000. So we're looking at about $400,000. Almost just under $500,000 in net cash right now in the golf course.
The only thing on this one here, Mark, the budget and the comparative report. I always like it when I see the pro shop revenues or the revenues start the green fees. And before it goes into the restaurant, the total. I always compare so this report.
Total pro shop revenue.
Total pro shop.
Total restaurant revenue. Total revenue.
Right.
Yeah. It's not showing it on there?
No, it's not. It's all just total. It's a total. I like to just break out the differences between the total restaurant and the total pro shop. It is two separate entities. Good. You need a motion to approve we need a motion to approve the golf financials as presented. Anything else, good? Nope. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
All right.
Thanks, David.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. I will just add before I leave, and this was a change, the first 2 weeks in October, we're going to be at peak rates until Columbus weekend, which has never been the case before. So normally, traditionally in the past, we have gone October 1st to a discounted rate. We're not doing that. So I think we'll probably, if the weather's good, we'll see a strong October.
Thanks, David.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And Lisa is not here. We're doing zoning amendment.
No, she doesn't have to be here. This is for us to go on, right?
Yeah, it's just the warning, just the warning and not the discussion. Okay.
But we just approved the golf course. Are we doing the towns? So
I just the town's usually after
the zoning in between the agenda.
Oh, okay.
So we have a public hearing notice that we were going to warn today for October 17th with the next group of recommended changes from the Planning Commission to the zoning. It involves section 120, which is definition, section 407, short-term rental of a dwelling unit, and changes to 640 certificate of occupancy.
I'd like to make a motion to warn a public hearing for zoning amendment notice, sections 120, 407, and 640 what date are we looking at?
October 17th.
October 17th.
It just passed the required date.
Okay.
And that's the meeting, just for a reminder, that's the meeting is moved 1 week because of Columbus Day.
Right. Okay. And so this will go into the paper for 2 weeks of the Mountain Time.
That's correct.
The warrant. There's no discussion here today.
No.
No, just the notice that we're putting the warning up and the changes are at town hall in the red line version and all of those
All right,
pieces.
so I have a motion on the floor.
All in favor of warning the zoning amendment, 120, 407, 640, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, town financials?
Well, we're also looking again at the fiscal year end of 2022. Because and Mark can jump in at any time. We have received the final journal entries that the auditor has recommended. And we are now, and Mark, if you did get the email from Bill, we're in agreement at this point.
I didn't see that.
We didn't see that. Okay, we're waiting for the final then. And we have a summary here. Currently, which, we basically made the additions that they want. They're just verification and going to work through the completed audit. Have a net for the year of $378,954. And as you may recall, that came from basically two functions. One was we refinanced the golf course note. We had changed from which year we were going to make the payment. It went from May to August, which pushed us into a different fiscal year. We had a benefit there. And we also had a significant overage on the options tax where we were about $185,000 to the good. So that's the bulk of the changes. Other than that, overall, we were relatively close on the overall. We're working diligently because between different things that have happened with COVID and now having Mark in place, working on getting the budget to better align on a line by line basis and clearing some things up. If you have anything you want to add to that, is there?
No, we're in the thick of things. We're
Yes.
in the budget cycle now, and the department managers have sent in some of their first requests that'll be discussed, awed over, and trued up from there. And then we'll be able to do once you fill in the details, you can do a roll up, roll down. So you can see what the net effect on the tax rate is.
Yeah, and we will be, we're still looking at October 17th as the first time we talk about the overall budget, the budget summary with the new budget promotion. And then starting on the 24th, we'll be doing departmental presentations and going line by line and having conversations about next year's budget.
So when they're doing these budgets, normally at some point, this board will tell them what the cost of living or whatever.
Yes.
So they can figure out the salary. So they don't have.
Right now, before we have given direction, because we don't know where we are, we started with what we've done in the past, the 2% for a placeholder. And we can make that modification at any time.
So anything that we see coming in at this current time, we're going to pay 2% increase.
2% increase on salaries. And then, it's so all over the map. We'll be having that conversation throughout, but for the sake of argument, that's where we are.
Okay. I'll make a motion to accept the town budget comparative status report.
This is final.
This is, okay, it's 99.9% final. We're just waiting for the final blessing. And we'll be providing you with we will be seeing, you may be
what we're doing is approving this for tonight.
Right.
That's it. It's not really.
I'm just letting you know.
It's a report.
The final one will be, we'll know probably before the next meeting. And then if there's any minor modifications to the treasurer's report, they will be included for fiscal year.
That I made a motion to approve the budget status report of FY22. It's not the finals.
Right. Yeah. No, well, you'll approve the audit report eventually.
Second.
Yep. Okay, all in favor of approving the budget status report as presented, please say aye.
Aye. On the treasurer's report on the town side, currently there's an $8.6 million balance in the account with 3.291 listed for restricted funds. And this does not include the $900,000 that we're going to be transferring this week related to TIF from that project. So technically, there's a receivable in the fund balance of $900,000 ish. So, and then we also just got the report from the schools. I think we just wrote a check. Grisha's not still here, for about $800,000. We just sent to the school, the first one, and the first payment in December. The first meeting on the December 1st, we will be paying the $5.7 million. That's the state school tax.
So 6.4 of the 8. We have another tax collection coming up.
Yes. November 15th.
Yeah. Motion to treasurer's report.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Do you have a driveway permit listed?
I just got one. I have one came in. Both of these are actually revisions. The ones we voted on earlier. One is on the Peter DeVito, which is on East Mountain Road. And if you want to look, the existing driveway that they had permitted was in the center of their property, and they're moving it to one side to do a switchback to make the driveway less steep. So it has no net effect. They're just changing the map. We already had issued a driveway permit for that.
And you're okay with the placement?
Yep.
How far down East Mountain is this?
This is up close to.
You know where the 9-lot subdivision right by the bridge is that KIllington sold the land to?
By the bridge.
By the bridge.
Yeah. Okay.
It's this side of the ski bridge.
Yeah.
Not the other side of the
It's the other side of the ski bridge.
Yeah.
But before Bear Mountain Road.
Okay.
So that one never had a driveway really put in.
No.
Yeah.
It was just that when the engineer came, they moved the septic system, they had the
So what was the last name on that one?
DeVito.
Danny.
Peter.
Well, should the town manager move forward with the driveway revision for Mr. DeVito? Okay.
So the other one is one that came in the summer, the Ficos, which is on Rockwell Road. They originally were going to put an entrance over on the side on High Road and come in the back and delete the first driveway.
Yep.
This time they realized that was not feasible because of the amount of ledge. They're going basically parallel to on the right side of the road. So it's still just a replacement of the existing driveway alignment. Which is not a problem for the town. We just, it's you know, it is what it is. That one we need to sign.
Ridge Road before.
They originally, I thought, coming.
They were coming up the side.
Yeah,
Up the side.
Yeah.
Ridge
So
Road.
now they're gonna come here.
Yeah. So that one, you just need a motion and to sign that one.
Motion for the town manager move forward with the revision. So what's the last name?
Pico.
All in favor?
Aye. So just to be clear on that, because I got like a phone call or two on that property. The select board does not, or the zoning administrator does not give out permits for driveway cuts. And the select board really doesn't have much of us, I mean, other than saying aye. The town manager goes out with the road foreman at times to question. And that's what it is. And at times, some revisions might have to be made because of hitting ledge or something. I think it would be nice if we had somewhere put that for driveway permits, that it has a permit sign that is put up for a little bit of time, so we don't get the phone calls in the office of what's going on.
Well, the other thing, and we probably just want to modify this whole process because I think it should be also a two-step process where you give a permit to construct, but you can't get recorded until it's built correctly and accepted.
So the state of Vermont on Route 100 and Route 4 has a two process.
Yeah, it's a two-part process. We want to kind of
get a certificate from them that said it was built to the standards that you said you were going to build it to. So we can get that worked out, but also just have a permit sign so people, it's just like when they see someone digging up their own property, they want to know what those people are doing.
I got two other pieces of news related to personnel. One is our planner, director of planning, has decided to move on. He resigned on Friday. He was here for just under 6 months as a trial, but due to some family issues and things of that nature, it was becoming not feasible for him to stay employed. So we're going to be looking at how we're going to address that going forward. And secondly, our recreation director / after school program director is moving on, starting her own business with some partners, and she's assisting with coming up with the replacement. We're going to be working with the school to get those interviews done and get the process going for replacement. She just sent me on Thursday or Friday the job description as to where it is, and
We need to get that out right
that's
away.
going to be out like hopefully tomorrow. I just have to talk to Mary. I got to talk to Mary.
But I mean, that one there is, we need to get that fire put out. I don't think you're gonna have a hard time finding that position for what we.
Right.
Pay,
Right.
and the qualifications are up there, but I think the pay is in the line that will get multiple people, just like we did for the fire chief.
Yeah.
So the planner side, just so you two know, it's not really an issue at this point because I'm gonna be using Jim Barlow to write up the decisions and sit in on the hearings. And in the actual, probably gonna be just as much as the salary for, but we won't have to pay the benefits or the pension. So it'll be until we figure something out.
And on the planning side, we have Lisa is going to be covering the planning side.
Yeah.
For that. So
Yeah. So are you good? The market that's on full time.
Looks a time and a half.
So that's all I have to do.
What was the second job?
The recreation. Recreation director and after school coordinator.
So we had a part-time recreation director a bunch of years back. And then the school was looking for a part-time after-school program director that needed to have some type of accreditation with as a teacher or something, or for schools.
Okay.
So the town had worked the way out that we work with the school. We hire the person on full-time, the person gets the benefits, and we give them their cost for.
Okay.
So we kept the salary the same, but then she picked up a position over there. So we have to look for the same person. We're not looking for two people. We're looking for one.
Right, but it's so
Run rec and the after school.
does the rec and the after school.
Right.
Yeah, I was wondering how that was combined because I know they're
It's
separate entities.
the summer it's full-time rec, obviously.
Yeah.
And during the school year, you have the after school portion. And currently we have an assistant in the recreation department that's helping with winter activities.
And that person works with like the KIllington Bike Club for the trail grants and everything else that are going on.
Right.
I think there's like the Borac grant for what is the name of that trail?
Or it's the state one.
Yeah, something trail.
Vermont.
Yeah, Vermont Trail.
That's the one.
Belmont Trail. So she's been working on that, other people coming in. I think we're looking at getting the tennis courts flooded out this year for ice skating, for hockey.
Oh, they were talking about the basketball court.
On the basketball court.
Yeah.
So, right. Okay. But let's get that job out right away.
Yep. And that's all I have then.
Okay, so for everyone that zoomed in, is there any other citizen input that you wanted to bring up that we didn't cover? Let us know by unmuting or raising your hand. Can't see the bottom of the chart.
They would come up front if they put
Yeah,
their
they
name
will.
on.
Okay.
So I would say that nobody that's listening in on the Zoom wants to speak at this time.
Right.
So out in the audience, Andrew.
Yeah, I know you guys have a lot to cover, but I just wanted to touch base quickly. I fired an email off to you guys this morning. I assume you got it.
I got it.
Okay.
And the only reason I didn't respond immediately is I was waiting to hear back from Nicole as to where we were with our permit.
Yeah. So we've been watching that permit process since for 2 years.
We just sent in the revised permit. Josh is, we're trying to set up a meeting with all the state people, but we need to get which if we get signatures with the landowners, because I just got the permit application, I think you're one of them. Get the sign off and then we can start hitting certain,
So that water
certain dams.
is, 3-4 weeks ago, I left you a voicemail and said, I was away for a week and I came back and it's way high.
Yeah.
It's level to the dams that I maintain on my property now. So if I break those dams, it's just like pointless.
Right.
And it stems from below the rec center.
Are you available to come by tomorrow at all? Because I just want to try and get, because you might know some of the people I got to get signatures from. So,
Yeah.
And then we'll get this going.
And it goes well beyond all the way up to Wolf Hill. So, I mean, it's not.
Oh, no, because I had to call
It's
from,
not going away.
I had to call from what's his name?
And that's not helping.
No.
So where are we at?
operation.
Because we've been asking for like a bunch of months or a year to get a meeting with this group. The permit that we're waiting for to be finalized. What does it, is it still saying we have to remove these dams by hand?
No.
So
Because Nicole went back to wetlands and rivers and they said, no, they won't allow that. So now all they're looking for is to get, they wanted they still want the state to sign off on the one. So I told Nicole. We need to get
the one what?
the one dam. One on the bottom is on the state land. The permit application for the others, I got to get the landowner signatures and then Josh can start approving those as we go.
But we've been waiting for permits for 3 years minimum and for the last year, I've been asking for a meeting with them to come during the day to the select board so we can get citizens to show how their backyards are getting flooded out, to show pictures of the culverts that are fully, that I've seen today.
Nicole sent that
Whatever.
invitation out again today.
So maybe something's busy, but if there are certain people that need to be contacted, just give me the state name person and the telephone number. And I'll start calling as a select board member and saying, we need to have this. I'm not getting tired, Andrew.
No.
When I say I'm getting tired.
I'm tired of pulling them apart.
Yeah, but I'm getting like, we need to get them here and here. We have pictures of culverts that are completely flooded. And
removing the dams is only part of the issue. I've owned that house 23 years and, we've done a lot of trapping over the years and maintained just in my little area, 10, 15 a season. And then that's gone up and down River Road where we kept that population at bay. There is no trapping currently. John LaFreeze moved on, that older guy. I forget his name, but he couldn't do it anymore. Matt does it a little bit, but unless you control the population, the water is going to continue to rise.
Was the FCA group, were those guys willing to do the trapping if we contracted with them?
so now the reason why I wanted to get the people from the state here that are saying that we need to not do anything, okay? I wanted to get them in here because then at the same time calling in the people from the feds that willing to, and they can get permission to trap year round. Okay, and that's what I want to do, Andrew.
And we're hoping to contract with
the
FDA to let them
and just
maintain.
so like everybody understood, we're not looking to
They've come to
eliminate the whole beaver population. We're looking to get the. Do you have the email from Andrew with the picture? Can you just at least show so we know what we're talking about here?
Right. So we just flood the whole valley and turn it into Tahoe East.
Tahoe. That would take your house out though.
That's okay.
You can pay out by the town.
That's where waterfront piece.
So let's see why he's got another picture of a culvert and click out of them on the right. Let's go to the culvert. So that's a culvert that's supposed to, the water coming from the road down into,
and that's
so there's no more water that can come in because it's full.
Yeah.
So what we're looking to do is lower the water so that more water from above roads can get into that area and keep it flowing. We're not looking to upset the environment.
No, we have to be able to keep it under control enough that we can maintain a balance.
Because if that continues like that, the road is gonna go away. And then the tax rate in the town is gonna skyrocket because we're gonna be fixing roads all along.
Question. So by, I guess, starting by solving the beaver issue, that's gonna stop, I guess, stop you guys from having to contact the state to remove the poles to do that annually. You guys are gonna basically go straight to the chase and.
Well, I had told them about Green Mountain Power.
While I was late.
Yeah.
There's a couple, there's actually, if you've been on River Road lately, it looks like a big marsh. It has actually a stream channel that it normally is flowing in. And actually Mike Miller, a former selectman, said he used to fish in there and he said it was never more than a foot deep. But now it's up probably 3 to 4 feet above that level. And we just got to get it back down to the stream level. You're still going to have beaver dams and you're going to have control, but it's about finding a balance. There's no natural predators for them.
That culvert there is 24.
That one is either an 18 or 24. I don't know off the top of my head.
So that's a 24-inch that's covered at the other end. So you'd have to lower it more than 2 feet just to get that culvert working, which then would help poles and everything.
Because the other issue you run into is this is the bottom of the watershed, and all of the mountains around it are feeding this in the valley. And you got a couple of streams where Kent Pond, that's a dam controlled. That stream runs down into the Ottaquechee. So all of this water, every time we get a storm event, we're getting flood states. We've actually Andrews Road is one that the bridge has been topped with water in the past. You know, so it's like we can't have that going on. You can't do that.
Yeah. And if you talk to the older generation that used to live on River Road, Wilbur's, Wayne's parents or whatever, when they were around, but that whole section there used to be a guy that used to cut the lawn in there. There was no lawn.
We know how many beavers are down, like what the population size is?
Hundreds.
I will tell you that 1 year we did have 2 people trapping and we trapped over 60 and it made no difference.
And the average weight of these things?
They're not light.
40, 50 pounds.
We had a couple of
like
60-pound beavers. They're huge. And they build those things in a hurry.
Yeah. I know, I've seen them go up quick.
So there's a few people that think we sit here at this table in town that we're trying to kill all the beavers in town. We're trying to save the road and keep the environment and keep that area so where it's manageable. And then it was unfortunate one day I was driving home one night at like 11 o'clock at night and I hit a beaver by Mosier's Bridge that happened to be walking the road with a truck behind me. So I couldn't stop and a car coming the other way. And it was like hitting a rock. And all of a sudden my heat temperature gauge went up. I pulled over. The beaver ripped my whole front end off and it cracked. It didn't take the coolant hose off. It cracked my radiator. It ripped the metal off. I couldn't drive. $7,700 later, my car was repaired. One beaver.
It's just so everyone knows, there's a person who lives adjacent to that area. That is evidently in a book of birding areas for the number of different species that are there, that he says about half of them don't have any environment left that they can live on because all of the marshy swales are inundated with water.
So if anyone tells you that Selectboard's a bunch of beaver killers, we're not.
Well, the way I look at it, we're not. Just saturates the road bed.
Yeah.
So that water freezes, then we get that spring thaw. That road is literally impassable. You try and take a fire truck and ambulance down that road by Heath's, you're not getting through.
Yeah.
And that's not a safe situation.
So I want, if Nicole can't get it going, I want to know the names of the people and I'll call each one of them up. But we need the pictures and show. We got to get these culverts working. And that's at least lowering the water by 2.5 to 3 feet.
All right. So at what point can like the town just say this is a health and safety to people living in the area? This is a emergency situation and just do it without the approval?
We've been told in emergencies, but we're trying to work it through this way here, but it's getting a little old.
When you have an event that appears to going to be topping a road, we're allowed to go remove what we have to remove to get it and then file an after the fact permit. And then we get yelled at.
But you can only lower 1 foot a day.
1 foot a day.
So,
And in their permits, they told us we could lower it 1 foot a day, but we have to be nice and leave the puzzle pieces right there on the side. And then they put them back within the same day.
I mean, like with the argument of like you're saying with the like emergency services not being able to access that because of impact, like that, I would say that's an ongoing emergency, like stuff like that.
We have made that request. And that's why we got to get the people. There's a different group of the state that owns the land that we're talking about.
Yeah.
The wetlands and streams people have said they will approve it. We got to get landowner permission.
Yeah.
That's where we've been falling, where we're not able to get them to sign it. So we actually need them all in the same room so they can say, every time they request, they'll say, you can't do it that way. You can't do it that way. And then we come up with a plan that works and we sign it.
So let's give Nicole one more shot.
Yep.
Within 2 or 3 weeks, we need to have the meeting here. And
If she doesn't have
can't, whatever, by the end of this week, just give me the names and I'll start calling. They'll answer.
I know.
so on a second topic, that second picture up right there, the other day, excavation came in without me knowing, and they're apparently redoing the top of the bridge.
Which bridge?
My bridge.
Who came in?
Daniel's excavation.
They're rebuilding the whole bridge. It's going to come down.
They think they're just putting a deck over it.
No, they don't. They're supposed to be. Well, no, they're not taking the abutments out. We're putting a new deck on it, but they're going to be putting a bypass bridge in.
So they cut all that vegetation on both sides of the bridge, like 40, 50 feet in, and I don't know how long.
But isn't this right along River Road?
But I went in to the foreman. I said, I don't want that stuff just chipped and blown into my side where it's just going to go and collect and, you know, that water right there on the far side of that picture on the top is where the water goes over the road in elevated situations. Well, there's a 12 by 6 foot high mound of chips sitting there now that I told him not to put there.
I will get them to remove that.
So Andrew, if I'm looking at that, there's a sign around like 1 o'clock, whatever, way over.
Yep.
That's River Road beyond that.
Yep.
And that's Archie.
Actually, no, you know what? That might be Thundering Brook right there. It just looks identical to mine.
Okay.
But it's the same.
But you're talking Archie Baker.
Yeah, Archie Baker.
So I will get Daniels to get that removed.
But what they're talking about filling in that whole area with fill, putting a metal bridge in,
right,
dismantle the other one.
Right.
I don't see any grading stakes in there right now, looking at what elevation is what. So as they throw in soil, how are we going to know when we get back to bare ground as to where that water was?
Well, that was all on the plan where they shot all the elevations, because that's all in the wetlands permit and in the bridge permit, the streams permit. All of that design is done by Inman Kesselring.
Okay.
And then they're following the plan and the wetlands permit that we have.
I had no
anybody can dam it wherever you just can't.
He comes back and goes, I can't get over the bridge. There's an excavator being unloaded. And they weren't in a real hurry to get out of his way.
I will have a conversation with Matt. I will have a conversation with Matt.
It's just cutting.
I will tell you, typically Daniels has done probably the lion's share of our bridges, and they do a great job, and they're very accommodating. And if they have a foreman out there that's not used to it, we'll have a conversation.
Yeah, but you know the timeline?
It's supposed to be done before November, or right around the beginning of November.
It's just a little.
Can we just get it out to the people that live there?
Yeah, we should probably let all the people know.
Yeah, it was one that I didn't know. We were going to send it out, but I didn't know they were coming out to unload the machine. A guy got missed on the notification, so I will take care of that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about.
But they blew chips on both sides that could potentially just clog things up. So.
Yeah, it's not going to help those culverts at all. I agree.
They may have run over a culvert. Yeah, we got their machine.
You have a pilot?
Yes. So,
motion.
well, is there anyone in the audience other than Andrew and Abs?
He can't read.
Yes. Abs. Anybody else have a question or anything, or they're all good? All right.
This is going to sound like a really stupid question.
Not unless you don't answer.
But it's a question I think I need to. Why can't you just kill the beavers?
That would make too much sense.
We're actually allowed to trap the beavers. We're not allowed to take the dam down. So what happens is, because according to Matt, who is one of our trappers, he basically said he caught every beaver that's at that dam. Okay, but what happens is when you can't take the dam down, another group will move from up the river. Then they come find a new already built house.
Why can't you take the dams down?
Well, two things. The reason, like they tell you, you can only do 1 foot at a time is you're going to release a tremendous amount of water downstream. It also affects the ecosystem, but in order to put the ecosystem back to where it was a couple of years ago, we'd have to remove the dam. But it is, the philosophy is you want nature to, beavers are part of the system. The problem is they're building at a much higher rate because there are no natural predators anymore, and trapping has
What were their natural
gone by the way. Excuse me?
What were their natural predators?
Bobcat.
It was bobcat and catamount.
Andrew.
Things. There's just not enough.
Sam Grill.
But so they're, they aren't really around here, and they're building and reproducing faster than they're being taken. So
If you ever get a beaver dam in your backyard, take it out before 3 years.
2 years before 2.
2 years. Because if someone could prove a beaver dam has been established for more than 2 years, then it has to be left alone, and you have to go to the state to get permits too. So you have to go all over these rivers and make sure that the dam hasn't been there for 2 years. Or else somebody says it was, and then you have to follow this other course or whatever. But it's just, we're not looking, we're looking to get the road to be safe and the people's backyards, because some people's septic systems are getting affected. I think rooms or whatever, or rather close to the water has come up to your house. Yeah, which is a good.
Sam said they filled
50
that
yards away from.
They filled that 10-foot culvert by him again, like inside the culvert.
Yeah.
So I had
They have a 10.
and we had to last time we had to hire Craig Mosher, and he had to actually cut a tree down and then ram it through with the excavator to get it.
In Valley Park, they now have kayaks and canoes where the water's so high.
And they used to have to walk down
Waterfront property.
Lake Tahoe.
And I've been checking it every week before I met with Green Mountain Power.
We call it Lake Hagenbar. We named it after the town manager.
Okay, let's move on.
I make a
We
motion
could be here forever.
to go into executive session for personnel because of the that, and then legal, I guess.
Okay.
So this is where we say thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
Home now.
You get to go back. So out of executive session at 8:38, no action taken.
Nope.
So I see that there's Andrew.
Put that back in.
Yeah. I thought they were on sole duty.
They were just in the waiting room.
Waiting.
Andrew's joining.
Andrew's still in the waiting room?
It
says
joining.
He may not be, because Matt came in fast.
I don't think he's ready.
He's it. So a motion to come out of executive session at 8:39. No action taken, but I see a Matt Snowmaker and an Andrew Geeter. Do you guys have anything that you want to ask us since you've been waiting on the line so long? Matt, are you there? You're muted. And there you go, Matt, you're unmuted. You're muted. All right, nothing being said from Matt or Andrew Geer. Matt, you're unmuted.
Something.
But you're not speaking to us.
Speaker up.
Maybe.
Can you check the chat to see?
Audio's not up.
Our short-term rentals being discussed October 17th now.
Yeah.
It's always been that. So Andrew's dropped out. Matt, we're not hearing you. If you know how to go to the bottom and send a message, maybe that will get through. I'll give it to you. There's a chat from, it's probably Matt.
Just
auditing.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
So I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn at 8:40.
Yep.
All in favor? Aye.
Okay.